Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Madals and I've got game number 2 of this best of 3 coming up now. It's a DreamHack group stage game and spawning up in the top right hand position as the red Zerg player. He represents Team Millennium, currently 1-0 down in this best of 3. It's GosWser. And his opponent down in the bottom left, the blue Zerg from Team Evil Genius, is winning game 1 in stylish fashion. It's Jaedong. So, what is he going to try and do? Basically, this game, there's a couple of options for Jaedong. He is a game up. It's a best of 3, so he could take a risk. He could try and do something more aggressive. He's seen GosWser's strategy, and GosWser in game number 1 played it very risky early, teching incredibly fast up into Mutalisks, leaving himself vulnerable to some kind of early mid-game pressure. Jaedong, though, didn't actually scout that, but still didn't have too much of a problem with it. He was just very active back at his own base. He was playing quite greedy himself and able to get up a good upgraded Roach Queen force. Basically kept him safe from nearly anything. And one of the reasons that Jaedong didn't go for a lot of aggression in the early game up against that build is because when he came and scouted, there was no lair started. All he saw was that a gas had been taken, 3 drones were still in it, and the spawning pool was already researching speed. And generally speaking, that suggests maybe some ling bling aggression to be coming. So Jaedong responded to that with a couple of additional queens and a spine crawler, just to make sure he'd be safe and droned heavily. He wasn't going for the aggressive style play. Now, this game GosWser, opening exactly the same, so is Jaedong. He's busy getting down his hatch first, should be following up with the spawning pool, and basically the reverse is on its way for GosWser, who's gone pooled hatch. Jaedong is going to start the gas before the spawning pool. That gives him an earlier speed, but leaves him a little bit more vulnerable and slightly worse off economically because his queens are up later, but it's not by an amount that is going to make a significant difference. GosWser also starting up his gas. This gas is a big variation compared to game number 1 for Jaedong. Jaedong didn't take any gas for a long period of time in game 1. Instead, optimizing how many drones he was able to get out, giving himself a much better mineral economy. By getting this gas, he's got the option for speed, the option for banelings, maybe expecting GosWser to go for some form of all-in, which wouldn't be unlikely. Most players would probably favor Jaedong to win this game and win this series, so may expect GosWser to try and go for a bit of a build order win or a lot of aggression early on. Now, Zerglings bouncing forward, going to go and get a little bit of scouting information out here for GosWser. Jaedong, though, he's sitting there getting 4 lings of his own out. The big thing is whether he pulls any drones and also whether any drones are pulled for GosWser from this gas once speed is started, once you hit that 100 gas mark. GosWser is going to keep mining most likely because he has already got to the point where you start pulling some drones. Probably going to be sitting up there staying at 3. Meanwhile, Jaedong also opting to keep the gas income going. So both of these two getting speed down at an equal time, both going to be teching up. The biggest difference is just that there's 1 queen down already for GosWser, which has already got 1 inject through, so those are 4 additional lava. But, of course, Jaedong levels that out by going for the double inject a tad sooner than GosWser can. So, links down the field, both players with overlord placement looking very good, very active to try and see anything that may come out of these bases, which is a good move. Jaedong also going to go for a little scout up and into the main. He wants to know what's occurring. Wants to scout out things like that baning nest. Even though he's getting a baning nest of his own back at home, he doesn't want to get caught at something too vulnerable. GosWser pumping a couple more lings. Only 4 at the moment, but it's where these next lava go that will tell it off. If it's to lings, it's a big push. If it is to drones, then obviously it's to be very defensive. But it looks like Jaedong actually going to be the aggressor here. 14 more Zerglings in production. He's cut drones and is just going to be going for a massive push. Jaedong also morphing in a couple of banelings, but that will be seen by GosWser. He's already got the spine coming down, sitting in with the queen right next to it, trying to play it safe, and also now morphing some of his own defensive banelings. This would be very tough for Jaedong to break through here, since the 2 queens are there and the spine should be done by the time it waddles through. The defensive banelings as well will aid in all of that. Now, 1 baneling will get taken out. 2 banelings trade for 2 banes, which is fine, but the additional 2 will help. The ling control is going to be critical. A queen, both queens actually getting very low, and Jaedong is able to slip in with a couple of speedlings here. Behind this, droning has recommenced, so this is not an all-in by Jaedong. He just wants to do a little bit of damage. He's microing his lings well currently, trading effectively with those banelings, minimizing damage done. And of course, as these drones start getting taken out, that's where problems come through. Defensive lings are now on the field for GosWser, though in total he's lost 6 workers compared to none lost for Jaedong. And since Jaedong was droning behind this as well, he's taking quite a large drone lead, and that's going to just get even bigger considering he's got 4 more drones about to pop. But counter aggression is going to be coming through. Jaedong will have 2 banelings, a couple of lings, and a spine crawler in order to help defend. But we've got to keep an eye out to see whether that'll be enough. GosWser at the moment going up into lair, getting up additional gases, and really just focusing on getting a good number of drones out. Whereas Jaedong, expecting this counter attack, tries to balance out droning and also getting the lings just to stay alive. Lair timings 10 seconds, or well, just shy of 10 seconds ahead for Jaedong at the moment. His gas income slightly higher just due to getting those 4 gases a little bit sooner than that of his opponent, but that's just going to make a small difference in terms of the overall income. Maybe 150, maybe 200 more gas in total, but that's compounding on to what we've already had. So that's good times for Jaedong if he is going to be going up into mutas. For the moment, of course, the biggest thing for GosWser is just that he's down by 7 drones. It may not sound like a huge amount, but it's frustrating. However, he's got a 5 drone wave coming through, while Jaedong is pumping out some more lings. He's going to be going for a bit more aggression. He's trying to put the pressure on GosWser, force out more units than he trades, and also making sure that there's not going to be an attack coming in, since he's trying to get his own Spire up. GosWser also busy getting the Spire, forcing quite a few lings out now from the Red Millennium player. He's busy getting 16 lings. That means that his drone count isn't skyrocketing. Jaedong, though, only 2 drones ahead at the moment, about to become 4 drones ahead, but that's not significant. That's not enough to be crazy. What could be significant, though, is the 3rd base timings. If Jaedong is able to deny this 3rd base, or likewise if GosWser is able to deny Jaedong's 3rd base, that can lead to some very good times for whoever is able to do it because of the better economy. And it's not even the minerals, it's the additional 2 gases that make the huge difference. It's about 200 Vespian a minute, which is 2 more Mutalisks a minute. That makes a big difference. Imagine if you're 6 Mutalisks ahead in an engagement. Well, obviously that's 3 in-game minutes to be able to achieve that, and therefore a very good time for whoever is the victor of that fight. So, the only other thing to think about is upgrades. Both players should theoretically go for the armor upgrades, since in muta on muta, that is more beneficial than the attack. But for the moment, GosWser is trying to go in. Good baneling detonation there for Jaedong. He's able to shut down a lot of them. There's still quite a few more banelings waddling through though, and this 3rd hatchery is taking significant amounts of damage. Jaedong does take a massive baneling hit there, and that is not really what you want to see. Loses his 3rd, not able to cancel it obviously since it's finished, and that was a beautiful little snipe coming down from GosWser. 11 Mutalisks are on the way out though, up against 7. Jaedong did have more gas in the bank. Overall, in terms of resources lost, incredibly equal. This game is still very close, and the 3rd hatchery for GosWser is massive. If Jaedong isn't able to deal counter damage at least equal to what was done to him by GosWser, then he's going to run into problems. What is good though is these Mutalisks managing to snipe off some overlords, quite heavily supply blocking GosWser for a good period of time, preventing him from getting up a sizable muta flock compared to that of Jaedong's. Jaedong is up by 4 mutas already. He's getting 3 more on the way too. He can try and take out these spores, and if the spores go down, that's when things get very tough for Jaedong. If the spawns are taken out though, he does still have the superior Mutalisk numbers, but he's pulling out. The 3rd base still up and running for GosWser, but the Mutalisks and some Zerglings going for some counterattack damage will snipe out a queen. That hurts production, but it's the Mutalisks alone just being so proactive down here. The 3 big factors in muta on muta fights are who has the better upgrades, who has more Mutalisks, but also who has some Zerglings on the ground beneath, because they soak up the bouncing glaive damage. If there's some spore callers, it will help, but currently GosWser only has a spore at his 3rd, and that's a very ill-defended 3rd base, and so the Mutalisks do potentially have a good option. Jaedong, 5 mutas up for the moment, and is going in for a bit more damage. The main base is completely undefended, bar a queen. That gets taken down very quickly though, and Jaedong, with the +1 air armor, ahead of that of GosWser, will take this trade for a much better engagement. Superior numbers, superior upgrades, and that means GosWser loses all of his Mutalisks, and it's 17 against 2 now. That is a massive lead for Jaedong. Without spore callers, GosWser has no choice but to GG out. So congratulations to him there. Jaedong takes this series 2-0. Of course, if you like the series, like the video, leave a cool comment and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with yet another new game.